Hi Libra, this is your horoscope for December 2017. Mercury, the communication planet, goes into retrograde from the 2nd until the 22nd of December. It's in Sagittarius and it's in your 3rd house of communication. So Mercury in Sagittarius isn't that great anyway because it skips over the details. It's like 5 miles ahead when it's supposed to be marking papers in the here and now, okay? It just kind of zooms off. It's too quick, it doesn't check details, it's way ahead of itself. That being in retrograde, so it appears to go backwards, with it being in Sagittarius, it's going to feel like it's being ripped apart. Am I going backwards or am I moving forwards? And it's in your 3rd house of communication. So communication issues for you will arise. Make sure that if you're speaking to people, especially about technical stuff in terms of your work, that you double check it and that it's right. So that you don't present something that's full of errors and you embarrass yourself. Second of all, if you're talking to people, if you're presenting, make sure that you keep things as simple as possible and that you don't go off on tangents and that you don't use huge big words because there's room for misunderstanding. And especially if you get these major new ideas. I mean, Mercury retrograde can be great for doing things differently. You know, like if you work in the media, for instance, or you film your own stuff, then you can change that around and it naturally feels like, oh, I want to shake things up a little bit. This one for you is pretty iffy. If you get the idea to totally do something differently, don't do it because it's a tricky one for you and it may seem like a good idea and in hindsight it won't be. On the 3rd of December, we've got the full moon in Gemini. And this is a really interesting one because it has the number vibration of 1111, which is this huge mystical doorway. So I've made a separate video on that. Have a look at that video if you're interested. But the full moon happens in your 9th house of education, travel, walking through new doorways, which is what that energy is about anyway. Growth, moving forward, ahead with your life, traveling on an intellectual level, i.e., you know, broadening your imagination and intuition, all of those things can be expanded. So have a look at that. On the 11th of December, going through until New Year's, we've got Saturn, the planet of structure and security, conjuncting the Sun. The Sun being your identity and what makes you feel strengthened and alive. Both of them are in the 3rd house of communication. So up until the 20th, Saturn is in Sagittarius. Same thing as Mercury being in retrograde, it's that feeling of being pushed and pulled, torn in 2 different directions. So communication is going to feel kind of all over the place from the 11th until the 20th. On the 20th, when Saturn moves into Capricorn, you're going to be super certain of what you're saying. And you're not going to be very open to new ideas or insights. You're really going to be working hard. So from the 20th onwards, the room for error decreases massively, even though Mercury is still in retrograde until the 22nd. So 2 days, I guess. But it's going to feel a lot better. But in the 3rd house of communication, when Saturn moves into Capricorn, you immediately lose a little bit of that higher realm knowledge kind of access. So make sure that you continue to use your imagination and your ideas and inspiration when you're communicating and not just kind of churning out facts and figures and things that are tangible and actual. Also include the abstract kind of stuff, which isn't going to seem as important to you, but which, you know, if we didn't communicate in abstract concepts, then all we'd be saying is, I will meet you at the coffee shop at 3 o'clock, and that would get boring very quickly. 17th of December until the 6th of January 2018, we've got Mars, the archetypal male principle, forming a trine, which means it's 120 degrees away from Neptune, which is in your 6th house of daily routine. So the 2nd house is work and money. You've got Jupiter sitting next to that Mars, so you've got drive and emotional drive and good luck when it comes to making money. Neptune is the manifestation planet. It's in the 6th house of daily routine and work. So with this trine, from the 17th of December until the 6th of January, you're going to get amazing ideas about how to make more money in your life, how to work more effectively, how to work less hard and to make more money, which, I mean, is ideal. So you can really use this to make your dreams a reality when it comes to your finances. On the 18th of December until New Year's, we've got Saturn now conjuncting Venus, the planet of love and beauty. And the 18th and 19th are going to be awkward in terms of talking about your feelings for another person. If you have to make some sort of, I mean, those things are awkward anyway. Telling people that you love them, you know, especially if you're not certain about the response. Have an inkling of what the response is going to be if you say, I love you, marry me, you know. Avoid the 18th and 19th, it's not ideal. 20th onwards, much more secure. You're just going to be much more grounded about the whole thing, much more effective. So when it comes to big declarations of love or making plans for the future, avoid those 2 days. Leave it until the 20th or even after Christmas when things kind of settle down with all the festivities and things. Now on the 18th as well is the new moon in Sagittarius. I'll make a separate video on this. This is about new beginning. A new moon is about energy being pulled in. Sagittarius is about let's move forward. And it's in your third house of communication, so you're going to be massively inspired despite Saturn going into Capricorn 2 days later. So 18th and 19th, not so good for declarations of love, but really good for you being inspired and getting ideas about what you're going to do moving forward into 2018. On the 20th, finally, Saturn does move into Capricorn and it goes into your fourth house. Now, this is a big thing because Saturn only changes signs once every 2.5 years. And it's been in Sagittarius, and that kind of has felt like a Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius because Saturn is about putting down roots, making sure everything is routine and solid. And Sagittarius only wants to explore and have fun and learn and teach. And it's been really difficult to make decisions. Saturn in Capricorn is much happier because it rules Capricorn, but Capricorn is very earnest and diligent. If you want something, it says you've got to work for it. And you've got to be ambitious and work hard. Saturn likes that because as the result of hard work, usually you get something that's solid and that is reliable. The two aren't the same, but they're similar. With them combining, what it does, all the work is now going to fall on you. If something is wrong in your life, you're immediately going to say, oh, I didn't work hard enough, that's why there's a problem there. Or I don't make enough money, oh, I'm not educated enough, that's why it's happening like that. So you take responsibility for everything. And it's in your fourth house of family. So even with family relationships, oh, my sister hates me. Oh, it was because I don't accept her for whatever. Or because I was so... So make sure that you balance it out. You are not responsible for everything that happens in your life. Sure, you make certain decisions and that has an effect. But that energy of Saturn in Capricorn is really isolating and lonely. And it doesn't inspire you to work harder. You know, if everything is your fault and if you have to do everything yourself, it doesn't really feel like, oh yeah, let's get going, you know? It's kind of like, oh, here we go. Black Moon Lilith is sitting on top of it as well, saying you can't work and you're not good enough. So you've got to inject some fun here and to say, I am good enough and I don't need to work myself to the bone to prove that I'm worthy as a human being. I'm worthy as a human being because I exist. And seriously, you're a divine creature, you're part of the universe. So with this transit, be very careful that you don't take on responsibilities which have nothing to do with you. That's the big warning I would give you. On the 21st is the winter solstice. So if you're in the northern hemisphere, it's the shortest day of the year. And if you're in the southern hemisphere, other way around. So in your case here, we've got everything kind of in the bottom half of the chart. We've got Mars and Jupiter in your second, and we've got all the energy in the third and fourth. So this is about really communication, family, thinking about work, thinking about the future, and being somewhat torn. You know, do I focus on family or my money life or what's going to happen in my relationships or how I communicate? It's not the easiest time of being certain about things. So don't expect to have all the answers, especially around the 21st. Do what you can. Despite Mercury being in retrograde, communication is easier because Saturn is now no longer in your 3rd house, it's in the 4th. So things are going to get easier. It's not going to be a terribly dramatic Christmas. You have got yourself kind of under wraps because you are aware that you're not certain. So you're not going to, you know, make these big toasts and proclaim how brilliant you are because you feel a little bit shaky. So you're a little bit behind the scenes, which means that you don't cause a huge ruckus, which means that other people aren't going to tread on your toes. Only thing to remember, if things do kind of get difficult, which I don't think they will in your case, then just own up to your part, and if that's not good enough, then just leave the other person to it. All you can do is apologize, and if that's not good enough, then forget it. So, 24th of December, Christmas Eve. Let's see, you've got Mercury and Venus in your 3rd, Uranus is in your 7th, house of relationships, and the North Node is in your 11th. Okay, so you can have loads of fun over Christmas with family members. Christmas Eve, the next day, Christmas Day, Venus goes into Capricorn in your 4th. So Christmas is going to be like work for you in a sense. But in a good, I'm working to make this a nice Christmas. It's like in a good way. I want family to enjoy themselves. I want people to be okay. Make sure you don't overdo it and go into people-pleasing mode. But you can have a really nice Christmas and exert yourself to make sure that other people are comfortable and happy. You can be hospitable and very welcoming over this New Year. Not New Year, Christmas. New Year's, 31st of December, you end the year on a really high note because the moon is in an air sign, which is your element, being Libra. It's in Gemini and it's in your 9th house. So you're immediately going to look at the future super optimistically. What will I learn in 2018? What adventures am I going to go on? Where am I going to go to? What new people are going to come into my life? And you really start the new year with a sense of excitement and a sense of being super practical and having the control in your life that you can do something about your circumstances. So, like I said, the Saturn thing can give you too much responsibility, but it can also be empowering in the sense that if I want something, I can work to make it different. So that's what I got for you in December. If you would like a private reading with me, then please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. Click on the readings tab to order your reading. Please remember to subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I'll speak to you next month.